Tapping in.
Are we live?
Sometimes it feels like not much makes sense in this world, G. And, you hate to be kicked when you're down, but it seems like we continue to lose giants, man. People that are pivotal to at least my growing up, my understanding of the world around me. Yeah, man, let me not beat around the bush. Rest in peace to Sidney Poitier, a legend, an actor and an activist, a pioneer. Man, it is this one hit me in the gut.
Yeah. And Miles, you're very well versed in Black arts history, right? So Sidney Poitier is really sad. Let me not say sad and speak honestly, right? Deaths like this cause you to reflect on somebody's impact, and when you look at the depths of how much someone like Sidney Poitier, the influence and impact that they've had on just entertainment, right, and Black entertainment specifically, is quite grand. So it's let's say Black culture and Black entertainment is always at the forefront of entertainment, right? And has been like that for a very long time. And this man was instrumental in that, from the movie sense, and as film lovers and as movie lovers and people that appreciate the art of filmmaking. This is a good loss to the long list of legends that we have with us in this particular form.
For sure, man. For sure. And it hurts, man. It hurts, bro. But it's also like, this man died at 94, and that's a beautiful life well lived. We should all strive to be so fruitful, right? This man not only entertained generations, he was an activist, right? He fought for our agency, for our civil rights. Man, it's incredible, G. So in his passing, I was coming across some of the stories of some of the amazing things he did. There's a story where he and Harry Belafonte, who was one of his closest friends, right? They had $70,000 that they were gonna deliver to who they delivering it to. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, right? The leader of SNCC, James Foreman. And they needed the money within 72 hours. So Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier, two giants of the culture at the time, threw the money literally in a bag, went to deliver it to James Foreman, and were confronted on their way by members of the Ku Klux Klan, right? Who confronted them violently with guns, right? So like, this man was about it. This man was on the front lines of the civil rights struggle from the perspective of being a cultural icon, right? And being very intentional about the way that he chose his roles. So yeah, man, this is one of them.
That's big, man. That's so big, and that's how you're supposed to do it. When you're part of the movement, you're part of the struggle, and you got it, and a plan needs to be made. You take that duffel bag, you stuff it with whatever you can put together, and you put that forward. That's cool to see, and the adoration that you see coming and pouring from Sidney Poitier. I remember Oprah was asked, who do you look up to? Who do you look up to? Because everyone looks up to Oprah in terms of how to hold themselves and how to present themselves professionally. And asked, nice, who do you look up to? And she said Sidney Poitier. She said that is to me the epitome of what elegance and of what presentation and form and power held in the right ways looks like, and standing for something and being willing to do that in a very graceful and elegant manner, man. So it's definitely, and look at that brother, look at those two. Harry, yo, no cap, that kind of looks like us. I don't want to say we're Sidney Poitier and Belafonte, but
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yo, Hazelnut and Chestnut, the OG, for real. You know what I'm saying? I will take it. But yeah, man, and that is I mean, I love that you brought in, what Oprah had to say. This is a giant for real because he influenced giants, right? He moved a community, including other icons, other people of influence, right? Martin Luther King said that this is a man of great depth, a man of great social concern, a man who is dedicated to human rights and freedom, right? What does that say when there are other icons that hold you up in this high regard, man? But I knew him as Buck from Buck and the Preacher. You know what I'm saying? I knew him as Mr. Tibbs from In the Heat of the Night. I knew him from A Raisin in the Sun. I knew him from Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. This man's filmography is crazy, crazy. A Patch of Blue, To Sir with Love, No Way Out was a film that I discovered through a film class at U of I. Shout out to Professor Sundiata. And it was like, man, this dude took on the weight of being the Jackie Robinson of Hollywood, right? The first black man to break through and have the opportunity to play the leading man in a positive way as an African American in the 1950s and 60s. Like, the way that he took the weight of that on and all of those eyes, all of those expectations, and carried that with such grace is just continues to inspire me, man. So,
yeah, I mean, we're speaking of the person that had the first of many black things to be done on cinema, right? That being including the first black man to kiss a white woman on camera, also the first black man to strike a white man on camera. That's a fun fact. And then there was a pretty cool classic scene where Sidney Poitier, I forgot his co-actor at that time, where he's washing his feet, right? He's washing his feet, lets him sit down, and he washes his feet. And that was the first time that was seen on camera as well. So it's always cool to know who are the people that broke through and allowed for what is now, the freedom of expression that we enjoy to the most part.
Oh man, I love those firsts that you brought in, man. Those because
Fun fact, Miles, you're also the first one to kiss a white woman on screen in this friendship. So you've got a lot in common with Sidney Poitier.
Wow. look at the tall tales that get mixed up with, when you have figures that have this much influence, and some fiction always gets mixed up with the stories, but you take that as it comes, right? You take that as it comes. But what's not fiction is that Sidney Poitier was the first black man to win Best Actor, to get an Academy Award for Lilies of the Field in 1964. And that was the same year that the Civil Rights Act was ratified, right? So this man's career has been indivisible from the civil rights movement and from that struggle, right? He also won the American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Prize in 1992 and the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award in 1999. So this man did live to see himself get some of the flowers that he deserved, but not enough could be said about his contribution to the culture. Like this is a man that was there for the I Have a Dream speech, right? That attended the March on Washington.
Yeah,
man. So
and those are the people that stand right behind Dr. King as they speak. Just if proximity to the man is any indication of the proximity to the cause. The fun fact too, and you took that picture down, but you could tell those two were some players back in the day. You could tell, and specifically Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte dated and I believe married Miriam Makeba in South Africa, who at the time was the first, or let's say, African pop star almost, right? And he went there and he done grabbed himself a little something, or whatever, however that transpired. But I'm just saying, you can tell. Also, like Sidney Poitier was that dude. He was that. Man. Ask your grandma about Sidney Poitier; they'll tell you.
Big facts, big facts. I'm glad I took those two dapper gentlemen's pictures down before we got into the extended folklore, right? I'm not sure if all of those stories are canon. They might be, maybe they're not, but I love just that. Yeah, man, these are real people. There's so much humanity to both of these gentlemen, right? And to get that is so much to give, right? As I was saying before, right, that we had so few opportunities to look up to these folks, and so Sidney Poitier speaks extensively on being intentional about choosing his roles and choosing to be. Uh, I'll use his words, right? He said, I felt very much as if I were representing 15 million, 18 million people with every move I made, right? Taking on the weight of the Black community and knowing that he had to represent how he represented them was how a lot of people were going to see them, especially a lot of white Americans who very purposefully lived lives that were separate, right, from Black folks. So
My
I just go ahead.
my question for you, Miles, is like, is that responsibility still something that is deserving to be held as a celebrity, right? Like at what we see our Sidney Poitiers, and we see the whole list of celebrities that we saw, Muhammad Ali. Um, we're seeing Jackie Robinson, as you have put it, like, but a lot of, at the time, being a black celebrity, you had to stand for a cause, right? And we've seen over time a lot of the judgment that has come from celebrities, from athletes, and let's say the epitome of black celebrity is that, oh, he doesn't do this for the community, he doesn't impact the community in a way. And that was a big criticism that they had on Michael Jordan, right? Incorrectly, but nevertheless, that was a loud criticism that they had. Like, yeah, Jordan was great, but what has he done for black people, right? And they even addressed that in the Jordan documentary. But like, you think about celebrities today, and you ask yourself, man, do they have to also be these social conscious heroes in our space?
I think so. There's not the same, not in the same way, not in the same way that like when Harry Belafonte was taking leading roles, he was the only Black man that had the ability to or had the option, right, to take those roles. So if you're the only representation, then it does fall on you, and that's kind of unfair, right? And we've seen people move into that space. Tiger Woods, right? For better or worse, Black people's expectations, hopes were projected onto Tiger Woods, and he had to carry that weight, right? When you're the first to break into a space, for sure that's on you, right?
So it has to be. You're saying like, if you're the first, it's incumbent on you to take up that fight and make it about opening doors.
If you're the first, they won't you don't have a choice, really, right? If you're the first, then you're gonna have to confront racism personally.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. A lot of people skate around it.
Like who the first Black person to do anything that skated around racism?
I mean,
And how?
2 words. He.
Michael Jackson certainly did not skate around racism.
I'm being facetious. Obviously, right? But if I'm thinking about it in a practical sense, forget just superstardom. Let's say you're the first Black person in a corporate space, right? There's a lot of ways that people can just maneuver around it. That was the same criticism that they had for OJ.
Sure, but OJ's a great example of somebody who, you can't say that OJ didn't have to confront racism, right? But OJ chose to engage as minimally as possible with that racism, as like until the issue of race was brought into his life and came to the center because of his own actions, right? But it's inescapable. You can't escape it, right? I'm not, because we both understand what we mean when I'm not Black, I'm OJ. We both understand that that's the fallacy in that, right?